Welcome back to, believe it or not, day 12 of our Lenten meditations. Time just seems to be flying along. So, for the 12th day, I've chosen not necessarily a hymn, but a song. And not necessarily just a song, but one of our Psalms. Psalm 121 is the psalm that is appointed in the lectionary for today, and I thought that it would be nice for us to contemplate those words a little bit during this Lenten season. Now, the tradition in both the Jewish and Christian history of the scriptures is that the Psalms themselves were written by King David. You may or may not know much about David, but if you do know anything about him, you probably would agree that he was quite the character. But the part of David's life that we want to particularly look at as reflective of this hymn occurred when he was very young, when he encountered the Philistine army and willingly stepped up to take on their biggest opponent, who was Goliath. So, as we're told in the first book of Samuel, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an abridged telling so that you don't have to listen to the entirety of the story. So, we'll start with the scenario where it's set. The Philistines occupied one hill, the Israelites another, and there was a valley between the two of them. A champion for the Philistines, named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. His height was 6 cubits and a span. That's about 9 feet 9 inches tall. Now Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us." Now, David was the son of an Ephraimite named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had 8 sons, and in Saul's time, the time of this battle, Jesse was very old. Jesse's 3 oldest sons had followed Saul to the war, and David was the youngest. For 40 days, this Philistine came forward every morning and evening and took his stand before the Israelite army. Interesting side note, there's another opportunity for us to hear about 40 days and 40 nights, right? Back to our story. Early in the morning, one morning, David left his things with the keeper of supplies and ran to the battle lines and asked his brothers how they were. As he was talking to them, Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, stepped out from his lines and shouted his usual defiance. And David heard it. David asked the men standing near him, "What will be done for the man who kills this Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" So eventually Saul sent for him, and David said to Saul, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul replied, "You are not able to go out against this Philistine and fight him. You're only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth." But David said to Saul, "Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord, who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear, will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." In other words, David was not afraid to take on Goliath because he knew that his help came from the Lord. And so, let's hear the words to Psalm 121. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where is my help to come? My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. And he who watches over you will not fall asleep. Behold, he who keeps watch over Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord himself watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand, so that the sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. It is he who shall keep you safe. The Lord shall watch over your going out and your coming in, from this time forth forevermore. So I have some pondering questions for you. Firstly, how does it feel to ask God for help when we are desperate? Secondly, in connection with that, think of a time when you either did or did not ask God to help in a situation. How did that turn out? And our third question, there is a comfort in a divine being that neither slumbers nor sleeps, who cares about us all the time. How can your personal prayer life reflect or acknowledge God's omnipresence? And so, thank you again for joining me today for the next of our meditations, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. And until then, take care and God bless.